Everyone, these markets have become very difficult to figure out, but that is not an excuse to lose money. We still need to be making money and making the right decisions. And as I personally demonstrated yesterday, that poor decisions can cost you time, at least, right? At the very least, it can cost you time in a trade that in return, that old adage, time is money. And so if you can get out of a trade and utilize that capital on a different trade, then obviously you're benefiting more than holding up your capital trying to break even or make a little profit on a trade that you should have already been out of. This market gave us a sign in retrospect. Hindsight is 2020, but this market gave us a sign last Friday, a week from today, when it shot up at the end of that trading session when we were doing a live call and we had Dr. Metals talking about that zero DT trade. We shot up significantly, right? So that was odd, but that happens. But still odd to me that the market is confusing and hard to kind of figure out at this point is that Tuesday down move. On Sunday, when the market opened, it was a holiday weekend, Labor Day. When the market opened on Sunday, it was flat. On Labor Day, when it was still trading a little bit, it was flat. Okay, and then on Tuesday morning, for a good part of that, it was still flat. And then we started to build some momentum to the downside, and then it just got out of control. We had like a 5 standard deviation move, what was expected on that Friday at the end of that day, because we put on a 1 DT trade, technically a 4 DT trade. And so we're still in that trade now. As you can see on the screen here, this is the 1 DT trade that we should have got out of yesterday, but that's spilt milk. Now we have to move on, and so now we're trying to make the best decision to be able to get out of this trade on Monday. And if we can't, then we'll try to make another good decision to be able to get out of the trade the next day. And then we'll continue to try to make good decisions to be able to exit the trade. But make no mistake, this market is a little confusing at this point right now. And we are down at one point a little over 100 points today, and every time we try to make a rally to the upside, we go back to lower lows. And that might be the case. You guys know this witching hour is always interesting. That's why we call it the witching hour. We can have this market can come all the way back. I don't expect that to be the case, but we can come back 50%, or we can go down to new lows. That's more likely the case, is that we go down to lower lows. I don't want it to be the case. I want us to kind of flatten out and calm down, but it looks like that's going to potentially be the case. We're going to make another adjustment later in the call on this 1DT trade to try to position ourselves a tiny bit better for Monday, but we'll make that determination about 10 to 5 minutes before the market closes to see if we get some type of up move on this market, or to try to position ourselves best even if we go down to the lows. So markets do this, you guys. Markets do this, and sometimes they become hard to kind of predict. Obviously 50-50 on an up day or a down day, but you you have that, the way we trade that quantitative way, you usually still have a really good feel that it's not going to go, 2 standard deviations, for example. But when it starts going 5 standard deviations, it starts going 2 standard deviations or more each day, like it is today, that becomes hard to trade, at least for short-term trades, when you're doing a 0 DT trade, or if you're doing a 1 DT trade, and sometime for a 7 DT trade. We were in a 7 DT trade yesterday. Because of the erraticness of the market, we decided that we were going to get out of that trade with, instead of a 50% profit, get out of it about a 37% profit. Well, if we would have stayed in that trade, it would have been a lot more challenging today, because we would have been at one point 100 points closer to our short strike, which yesterday maybe our short strike, I just say our short strike was 150 points away. Well, now you're stuck in the trade a lot longer because of the move that occurred today. So you have to be vigilant in these markets, but you can still make money. We've made money through the the huge up move for most of this year. We made some money through the down times. We made some money through the market going back up, and now it's going back down with that 7DT trade. You just have to be vigilant and make sure that the decisions you're making are decisions that you do the what ifs like we were doing today on the trading floor, and then you try to pick the best what if, and but always leaving an exit for yourself, always leaving a escape route. And if you leave that escape route, you're going to be okay. You're going to keep being able to stay in the fight. And so later we're going to talk about trying to deal with that placeholder type of trade, that iron butterfly. It's not an easy situation to be in, but you're going to have patience, and the market will give you your window. We'll talk about that here in a second, Mark. I know that's one of the things you wanted to discuss through a message that you sent to me. But for now, you guys, just to finish up this talk on this market, you need to be vigilant, and just do your best to make the right decisions, and don't just have one decision in hand. Try to do the what ifs like we were doing on the trading floor today, and that's going to pay dividends with you. And don't be dogmatic about your position. If you decide, okay, I'm going to do this decision, make sure you have the discipline to execute your exit plan when it occurs, right? And that's what happened today. We wanted the market to go down no more than 50 points. Obviously, at one point it was over 100 points down. Now it's down 80, 85, 84 points. And so we had to make our decision and make our adjustment. We made that adjustment, and now the adjusted trade is obviously in the money a little bit. So we'll see what happens in the next 50 minutes. See if the market has some type of up move. That would be great. But every time we tried to do it today, it got rejected, and the market went back down. So we'll see if that happens for the remainder of this 50 minutes.